I'm going to cover the 6 things that you must know for your rescue or your shelter dog. And stick around because the last one might just be the most important. Now, some of you may know me from watching some of the previous videos I've done, whether that be with legendary Lassie trainer Robert Weatherwax, or maybe my new series, The Best Dog Trainers You've Never Known About, where I introduced the matriarch to everyone. And also, you may know me from the Jedi Dog Master Challenge, which everyone is scared to attempt. And in that you might think, hey, aren't you just basically a movie and tactical dog trainer? Isn't that what you've done for half a century? Training all these dogs to do incredible things that other people can't do? Yes, this is the fact that the majority of my dogs that I have are shelter or rescue dogs. I've saved a lot of dogs from being killed. And one of the things that separates me from the people that you'll see on YouTube is that I actually care about dogs. I don't talk about caring. I actually save dogs' lives, and I live with more dogs than the would-be experts have had in their entire lifetime. I mean, right now, I've got more dogs than they've ever had in their entire lifetimes. One of the first things that you can do when you bring your shelter dog or your pound dog back, all these things are interchangeable, the shelter rescue pound dog, you need to give that dog personal space. I would suggest that you have a crate for that dog that dog can go in and out of when he or she wants to. This is going to be a safe zone, and if you have family members, they have to recognize and observe the fact that that cannot be violated, that that's the dog's place. If you have small children, this is a good time to teach them about respecting animals and also not allowing them to abuse, irritate any animal. You wouldn't like to be irritated when you're trying to sleep, and it's also going to give you a very good tool for feeding. Now, one of the things, this goes to the next point that I want to make, feeding your new rescue or shelter dog. You should try doing this by hand initially, by hand, so you can start forming the fact that you are not a threat to this dog, that you're teaching this dog to be bonded with you. One of the clearest ways is to be a source of primary reinforcement, and food is a primary reinforcer. Alright, start feeding the dog inside of the crate. This will solve a lot of problems because most problems with dogs are management problems. This will stop what people call resource guarding, which you do yourself, and trying to make dogs slaves and servile to what you as a human would not put up with is actually incoherent and not very thoughtful. One of my secrets to my success is the fact that I would not demand out of a dog which I would not demand out of myself or anyone around. You like having your food played with when you're eating. If you go to a buffet and strangers come up and start sticking their hands in your food and you take it and you don't do anything, what would be thought of that? Well, in prisons we know what happens in those cases. Same thing with the dog. You should honor their privacy. You should give them the space, and allowing them to eat inside of their crate is a great way to do that. It stops any problems with small children coming up and harassing a dog. It also gives a dog a sense of security, which everyone needs when they eat. How do you like eating in a place where you don't feel like you're safe? You won't do it. Anxiety. A lot of people have problems with that. It's important to realize these things are deeper than what you might think on the surface. Yes, a dog must put up with what I do. A dog must be a servant, must be a slave. No, that's not how I believe. That's not the key to my success. And I'm telling you, as a Jedi Dog Master, that other people cannot equal in what I do with dogs, and don't attempt to, because they can't. This is a big core reason why. This also leads to don't be neurotic. And what do I mean by don't be neurotic? Well, it means don't change your mind. Don't be capricious. Don't vacillate. Don't change what you do. If the dog can go on the furniture, that's either yes or no forever. It's not. Sometimes the dog can get on the furniture. Sometimes the dog can get on the bed. Sometimes the dog can be here. If you don't want the dog see you and bother you when you're eating, don't ever let the dog come to you when you're eating at a table or wherever. If you don't want the dog to go into a certain room in the house, it must be off limits forever. Do not be neurotic. And neurotic is definitely being someone who is fickle, as we say, fickle, flaky, can't be depended on, because their behavior is erratic. Don't be erratic with your dog. This is one of the key ways to establish reliability with you and your dog. The dog knows that you can be trusted if you're reliable in what you do, and that starts with your decision making. Keep that in mind. And you must, now a lot of people say this, but you must allow time for a new shelter dog or a rescue dog to adapt. And this doesn't happen in a day, it doesn't happen in 3 days. It takes a long period of time. Just like if I were to thrust you as an adult into a new language environment, can you suddenly start speaking Mongolian? If I throw you into outer Mongolia, how would you react? You're going to go into shock. You're going to have a breakdown. Culture shock, as it's called. You're going to be finding yourself in anxiety, panicking, because you cannot communicate. You don't know what is normal in that environment, in that speech culture. Now, this be for a lot of people that can't comprehend this, they can't get this, but those of you with more understanding, those of you who have ability to put yourselves in other places, can understand that this is exactly what a dog is going through. You must allow time for this dog to adapt. Does not understand your customs, your ways. You don't know where this dog came from. You don't know what this dog has been used to, and the dog has to rapidly adapt. No, it will not happen. This is one of the biggest problems I have with people who get a dog from the shelter or the pound or the rescue. They think that this dog is suddenly going to be overjoyed and thankful that they're in a new environment with maybe screaming kids, a household that's different, in a different environment than they've ever been in. Maybe you have other household animals. You might have guinea pigs, for all I know, cats, other dogs. This takes time. This takes time, and you must allow for this. You must accept that this will take time. Just as I said, do you think that I can throw you in Mongolia and that you'll be able to function in that environment in a day, 2 days, a week, 3 weeks? No, it would take you a year if you're lucky. Well, that's being very liberal in my estimation of your abilities. Now, also, what we have to talk about may be the biggest thing that you can do, to help this dog adapt and also start a new life, and that is change the dog's name. Some places have rescues and shelters for dogs that have been returned, that people have given up on, they've surrendered, as they say, which I would call abandoning and betraying the dog. This dog comes with a name, and they use this name when the dog is in the lockup, as it were. Change this name. You don't know what sort of emotional baggage is coming along with this name. You don't know what this dog has suffered by hearing this name. You don't know if this name represents pain, if this name represents disappointment, this name represents getting beat on. You do not know. Change the name of the dog. When you're changing the name, you're giving a new ability for personality, a new life. Why do you think that artists will change their name? Why did he call himself Prince? Why did she call herself Cher? Why do people change their names, especially in the musical industry? They create a whole nother persona because they can be something different. They cannot be that if they retain their original name. The same thing with this. Also, if the shelter is given a name to the dog and they've called this dog that name, change it. Change it. This is not so difficult to do, but this will give a whole new lease on life, as it were, and I mean literally. Changing the name creates new abilities, new chances, new opportunities for you and the dog. You're forming a new persona, as I've said many times. This is something that you can work together on. This allows you to bond with the dog. This allows you to create a history with the dog that no one else has. It erases the past history. That dog's name might have been Spike, and that a lot comes with that name Spike, and you change that name to Frank. Now, Frank is totally different. Frank has never had any of these bad experiences. Frank's whole vista is open for you. I have been very successful with many dogs, and look, again, I got to reiterate that I have more dogs at this one point right now than you'll see the experts, the ones who say they care about dogs. Why aren't they saving as many dogs as I am? Why aren't they living with as many dogs as I am?